Okay, inspiring teachers, and I wonder perhaps is education everything? And to talk to us about this sort of topic, we have Mohammed Tavassoliyan, who's going to tell us something about a special person.
Have you ever thought?
Hi. Have you ever thought how could you enhance and advance the present knowledge of our world? Have you ever thought how could you do it and what you need in order to do it? Let's start with a very simple example. Consider that you want to write your own book. Now let's talk about the topic, right? Let the topic of your book be about something very professional. A topic in which you need to know a huge range of prerequisite information before starting it. Let's narrow the topic down. What will you think about the topic? Neurons? Or mechanism of a machine? No. Let's do it in a way that the topic needs your imagination mostly. Like, since it's not tangible, or it is actually tangible, but it's so big that you cannot watch it carefully and entirely, like the universe. It's so hard that it's easy to give up, right? Ali Muhammad Yusufi has not been into any university or college through his whole life. According to his claims, while he just had his high school diploma, a question had been always nagging his mind that, is there anyone else except us living in this universe? He started to thinking about this question. I'm sure that most of us have wondered about this question before, but he started to think, to wonder, and then to wonder. He was not able to answer it. Then he started to watch some TV programs discussing this question. Then he started to read some books, essays, and articles about it, and surf the internet to find the answer. But after some time, he found the answer into some extent. But then he came with more questions about the universe, about the creation, about the creator, about the system, relationships between the particles. After some years of studying very hardly, he understood some of those information and knowledge. And he decided to rewrite what he had learned and he had studied into a very simpler language that any non-professor reader like me can open the book and find the answer of that question. But you may guess that simplifying those hard, complex, scientific language is very hard, and it was. And after 5 years, he published his book. A book which he compiled and collected some information, and then he simplified. This book contains chapters about the history of creation, the astrology, the appearance of the solar system, finally life on Mars, traveling to space, and etc. But wait a minute, how could he do that? No particular math, no particular knowledge in math, no particular knowledge in physics, chemistry, biology. How could he understand it? How could he simplify it? But here's the point. Let me clarify for you. He understood some part of those knowledge and information, but not all of them. And he understood the interpretations of the questions in the context of those specific areas, so that he was not able to use that information again in another question. For example, he studied about right-hand scale, and thus he studied and understood the concept of velocity. But he may not probably know that there are different types of motion, different types of velocity in physics, like one linear motion, two-dimensional motion, three-dimensional motion, and etc. Surprisingly, he left. He didn't continue, he didn't go on. And he didn't have any questions anymore about the universe. Some of you may have found him curious while I was talking and I was describing him. And some other of you may have found him creative. But what happened to his creativity? What happened to his curiosity? Did he run out of them? Have you ever seen a chemist sitting somewhere and says, I have studied all about chemistry and I have no other materials left to study because I've covered all of them. But what do you think? Does the chemistry end? How about physics? How about astronomy? So, he definitely cannot claim that he studied and covered all about the universe. And don't you think that without having deep knowledge in a particular area, it is impossible to raise deep questions? And what if Ali Muhammad had been to the university and studied those materials and crucial basics and prerequisite information in an appropriate structure? Could he be able to raise more questions that have never been asked before? And finally, don't you think that he would be able to answer them and discover new things? Newton, Einstein, Stephen Hawking, and many other big hits in the science have definitely known some crucial basics and knowledge, like math, physics, chemistry. And via those information, they were able to solve the complex problems and discover new things. And there might be a question that why a curious person like Ali Muhammad or many other curious persons did not discover new things? What do you think? Did they lack of curiosity or did they lack of basic information? And why this huge majority number of professors, teachers in famous universities, not all have discovered new things? Only a tiny population of them did. Because probably they were not curious enough to do that. But there might be a point for you that both university and information like books, essays that Ali Muhammad had used could have given him the same information and knowledge. So why bother going to university and spend years there? But the point is clear, the answer is obvious. This information, which are available in internet groups, only gives you the ability to understand those concepts and to realize those concepts and information. And they do not give you this opportunity to use them in your way. And that is what a university tries to do. It gives the chance to students to use their own learned topics and materials in their own new creative ways. And that is how they can discover new things. And that is how we can advance the present knowledge of our world. Finally, I want to thank the sources that I've used, their teachers, for my conversation. And I want to mention about the last point that I'm so glad to say that Ali Muhammad was my uncle. Thank you.